So, Oscar, you
Mhm.
and your friends just went through a major fight. You rescued Thomas, you rescued Margaret and a town guard.
Mhm.
Y'all had some merriment at the Lotus. You watched your good friend Eldon get plastered, and
Mhm.
you somewhat follow suit. Um,
Yeah.
Eventually, you guys make your ways up to y'all's room. You pretty much carrying Eldon and just tossing him.
Mhm.
But sleep finds you fairly quickly. Um, you guys are worn out. You're still sore from your battles. Um, you didn't even bother with cleaning up. You just fell asleep. You're just that tired.
Mhm.
As you drift to sleep, it's a dreamless sleep. Um, Usually happens whenever you get to the extremes. But after a while, you wake up. The first thing you realize, you're covered. You stand up and you realize you're in the middle of a snowdrift in the middle of a forest. You
Mhm.
see snow everywhere, but you're not as cold as you think you should be. And then you look down and you see that you're wearing a fur coat made from the same color fur that the wolves that you fought just that day,
Mhm.
or the day before. You're not quite sure how long ago that was at this point. Um,
Yeah.
but you start looking around and you begin to notice something odd. The snow is falling down. That's not odd. You got a gentle breeze. That's fine. But you realize that you're not outside. You look up and you see the faint signs of a cavern roof.
Mhm.
But you look around and you're like, no, I'm in a forest. And these trees, they look oddly familiar. They look like the trees from home, from back home. You just stand there confused. Do you have anything running through your
Mhm.
head right now?
S- mhm. um. Sorry, you cut out at the last bit there. If you were saying
Sorry,
something.
I was just asking if you had anything that was running through your head.
Yeah. Confused.
Mostly confusion.
Very.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like if I'm outside, but I'm not.
Yeah, this is a very surreal thing.
Mhm.
Um, but like I said, this forest does remind you of home,
Mhm.
and you kind of get a tugging in the back of your head, something familiar, and your feet start moving just by themselves. It seems like. Um, you eventually come across something that you are not expecting. Sure, the trees looked familiar, but you realize that they're not the trees that you remember. But you come to a um, a shrub, a group of shrubs that look very familiar, even with the snow covering them. You kind of move them and
Mhm.
kind of get behind them. You see an all too familiar cave entrance.
Yeah.
You instinctively just enter the cave and you find yourself in a oh so familiar rock formation. Rocks 20 feet tall. You see
Mhm.
a hammock stretched between a pair of trees and a chest that you know deep in your heart that contains a bottle of booze, books on medicine, and the guitar that your mother made you when you were younger.
Yeah.
But looking around this room, something's different. Where there was normally only one entrance, you see two. And as you're looking around what appears to be your place of refuge, do you have any thoughts any thoughts of the things that you've experienced so far? Your friends, maybe something, a fear, concern.
I guess fear.
Okay,
Um.
fear, just all over fear, or a specific type
Just
of.
just all over.
Okay. But as you're sitting there, just taking all this in, you don't even approach the contents, just slightly nervous about what you see. You recognize that this is your place, but how can you be here? You're hundreds of miles away, at least a month worth of travel. You've been through so much, but that tug that brought you here pulled at you again, and it kind of overrides your fear, and curiosity gets the better of you as you entered the second cavern entrance. As you travel for a little bit, not too much, you don't even have to duck down. You find yourself in another cavern, and strangely, the snow is continuing to fall from what appears to be the cavern roof. This cave gives way to a forest. But as you brush your hand against the trees, just to kind of make sure you're not dreaming, you realize that the tree doesn't feel like bark. It feels more like stone. You kind of take things in. You see that the trees are not swaying with the breeze that's hitting your face. You're just in a stoned forest. You continue to walk. The wind kind of starts picking up a little bit more. See if this background noise takes into effect. And let me turn that down. Nope, that's the wrong one, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, let me turn that down a lot because this one is actually the default audio is really high on it. Oh, I wish I could fine tune this a little bit more, but Roll20 is not the best with it.
It's fine.
All right, that works. All right, so as you continue to walk, you hear your feet begin to splash a little bit and crunch with ice. Then that ice turns to a little bit of water. And you notice you're starting to walk into an area covered that looks like it was once frozen. But you're still in the trees, and you look around, there's water everywhere. Kind of like that scene from Spirited Away with the railroad tracks where there's water in all directions.
Gotcha.
But you keep walking, and then a clearing starts opening up before you. And before you lies a crystal green and blue pool of water. And in the center of this pool, you see 3 statues. You see a knight with his wings outstretched behind it, grasping a sword embedded in stone. You see a short woman with long hair playing a 3-stringed bow as though it was a violin, with a rapier acting as the bow pulling across the strings. There's a feline woman with her fists pressed together in a defensive stance between the two. You see stone water wrapping around her with bolts of electricity crackling off of it. And they're standing in a partial circle. Their backs kind of to each other a little bit. But you notice that there is one space that's open that looks like it could be filled with another figure. And as you're gazing at this, does Oscar have any thoughts running through his mind right now?
Do I have my weapons?
You start patting yourself down and you don't actually have your weapons. You kind of feel a little naked right now.
Oscar is nervous as all hell.
Okay. As you're standing here, you hear a small cough behind you. And instinctively you turn around defensively, and you're face to face with a figure you've only seen once in your life, and it's been feels like a long time. Before you stands Atzian the White, your patron.
What's up, buddy? Haven't seen you in ages.
He nods at you, and he kind of bows a little bit and says, "My apologies, Oscar. I did not mean to be away for so long. Your training..." Oh, I apologize. What? Your training had only just began when I sent you away. Or maybe it was whenever you felt the need to leave because your family casted you out. Either way, how have you been?
Could be better. I had to deal with a bunch of brats in the investigation that wasn't an investigation at all. But that's all good. It's fine.
He kind of laughs a little bit and is like, you're gonna come across that. Things are never as they seem. You will learn. Or it seems like you've already learned it, but that will never change.
Yeah.
But,
so other than that, yeah, pretty good.
You don't need to lie to me, Oscar. You and I share a bond that many could not even fathom. You quite literally have a little bit of me in you. I was the spark that helped ignite your magical powers, after all. But I can see that you have some bubbling anger within you, feelings of almost like inequality, or any, almost you feel, no, that's not how it is. Even though you might not admit it, Oscar, I can see the shadows of inadequate feelings, that you feel that you're not strong enough, that you're not able to protect.
Me? No. You're thinking of another Oscar. No. No.
So you're not angry that you have a hard time hitting foes with your sword.
Yeah.
Or that the spells I have taught you are swinging wide.
Well, that's just me. I gotta gotta line up that shot with that Eldritch Blast. Maybe I should try the index finger next time, not the middle. But
That could
I
work.
don't know.
That could work.
Right? It might
But,
be a little more accurate.
or it could just be that anger, that Goliath anger that lies within you.
But I was outcasted for not being a normal Goliath.
You're not. They revel in anger. You fear it. You don't want to lose yourself to the anger that you watch your family lose themselves to. The void of them. They become avatars of anger and rage. Anger can be useful if you tame it. Or it could be useful if you just simply let it go. The trick is, even with magic, anger, knowledge, you cannot let it consume you. You gotta use it as a tool, Oscar. He's just sitting there staring at you awkwardly at this point.
And I'm just standing there like nodding my head. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't lie to you now. You know me too well. What do I say?
Of course I know you, Oscar. Remember, you're my instrument on the material plane. But you're not my servant. I am nothing more than a teacher for you. We're connected, unlike many people in this world. More so than any of the clerics and their gods. You and I are linked. And like I said, you're not my servant. You don't have to agree with me. but I just ask that you don't betray me or my sister.
Mm.
And he kind of walks around and he's staring at the statue at this point, just kind of satisfied with you and the progress that you've made so far. And you kind of feel like kind of through this link that you two share, he opens it up and you feel his pride in you.
Mm.
You know, he's happy that of everything you've done, even with the any resentment you have for being outcasted, for being different, for no matter if you've accepted it or not. This the deepest parts of us that are hard to let go. But he stares at the statue for a little bit and continues, Oscar, I can see the threads of fate starting to stitch pieces of your soul and your future together with your new friends. And they're starting to mix into the events of this world. I don't know what it means, but, and at this point he looks at you, with massive amount of concern. Please be careful. I feel an unrest, even my own planet, in my own plane of existence. It's sort of like the calm before a storm, Oscar. I don't know what's coming. I don't know when. All I know is I see your threads starting to stitch into the fabric of time itself.
Well, I guess I'm gonna need an umbrella, aren't I?
Oh, I haven't thought about umbrellas in so long. Oh, how I miss the rain.
So,
And he kind of smirks at you. He's like, just knowingly, knowing
say it
tells
again.
your patron looks at you kind of knowingly, knowing the tales of the Goliaths, of the magical, some magical artifacts that you grew up hearing. Some of them were more jokes than anything, but he knows. But he does look at you, and he extends his hand out towards the statue, and he urges you. He said, Oscar, protect your friends, protect your family. Sure, your clan might have forsaken you, but these three, they have not.
Well, you see, that's where the anger comes in. It's that I can't protect them, so why? What do I do? Like, I obviously fuck everything up, so it's. I unleashed a warg on me and it bleeds at nearly death, so. I'm thinking this is a bad idea to just continue.
Oscar. You have more power than you realize. You simply need to believe. It's your creativity, your feelings, your entire being of unpredictability is what you need to save them.
Mm.
Even if you use your anger and become a Goliath fully and through, you must tame that anger. Do not let it consume you.
Yeah.
You will save your friends as they will save you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up on them. Don't give up on yourself. And he reaches out his arm to you and he says, swear to me, Oscar, that you will not give up.
And I shake. Well, is it like a handshake type thing?
Yeah, he's kind of reaching out to you, kind of like the Warriors shake. And it's weird because he looks human, but he's taller than you.
Dear God.
In fact, for your reference, let me see, did I ever throw him into here? Nope. Give me just a moment. Where are my...
Oh, you got a picture of him?
I do.
Oh, I'm excited now.
And I will describe it to everything. PCs. Or let me see if I can save it real quick, because I don't know. As you can tell, I am really put together on this. I thought I was. I could have sworn I had him uploaded, but... where are my pantheons? There we go. Save as. Players. Okay. PCs. Resources. Players. And let's add a handout. Drop that bad boy right there. Save changes and show.
Oh, shit.
So
look at him.
Before you stands a pale-skinned man, white hair. He's wearing primarily a white robe with black fur trim and black clothes underneath. His eyes are white as the snow around you. His clothes are trimmed in gold. He stands taller than you, and you're pretty large for a Goliath.
Yeah.
But the look on his face is, like I said before, pride. He goes on to say, Oscar, I am older than many of the new gods this world has. Time in my realm is different than elsewhere. I'm not immortal. I will die eventually. But I have spent many years trying to find someone that could carry my power on for me. Many have come, many have failed. None have been as interesting as you.
Oh, I'm flattered. And and you know what? Let me redo this. Yeah, the flattered part, done it. Okay, the handshake. All right, so if we're gonna be this close, we're gonna. You ready? You ready for this? You ready?
Go ahead.
And I give him the fisherman's handshake, which is like the warrior one when you grab the wrist, but instead of grabbing the wrist, you just flap your hand.
He laughs and he does mimic you a little bit. He's like, Oscar, you never cease to amaze me. As he says that, you see like little pink hearts flapping with your hand.
Yes.
And
that's only for you and me.
He says, he's like, he kind of leans down and said, don't let my sister see that though. She's a little bit more serious.
Sister?
Yeah.
You said it earlier, but I forgot to ask.
Yes, my sister, Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
And I am the Fae of White, she the Fae of Black. Together we maintain harmony in our realm. Light and dark, not necessarily good and evil. You know, everyone has a little bit of both in them. It's kind of like your world's monks. I'm sure you've seen the symbol of the yin and the yang.
Of course.
Essentially, that's what we are. We are balance. Together, we are strong. Together, apart, could rule devastation for our realm. But, like I said, Oscar, I have faith in you. Even if you don't have faith in yourself, and I know your friends do. So, and at that point, he starts walking backwards, And as he's walking backwards, he spreads his arms out and he says, "Fuck shit up."
Yes.
And with that, he disappears.
Oh, I'm so
And
excited.
as you are standing there, just feeling your fear starting to slide away, the beginnings of self-doubt start to vanish a little bit as you turn around, once again looking at the statue. These fierce warriors that stand before you, and from the ring that empty space forms another statue. You see a large figure, your height. You see him brandishing a weapon, and at first it looks like a sword, then it changes to an axe, and it just kind of keeps flipping between these different weapons, and kind of it's like it's the only part of the statue that's not stone. It's like this black tendril of ink just shifting back and forth between different weapons in one hand. And on the other hand, you see it's lifted up in a proud one-finger salute. And you see depictions of energy coming out of it like you're casting a spell, like it's casting a spell from the finger. And the next thing you know, everything vanishes and you're falling in nothing, and you wake up.
Wow.
And you sit up in bed, you look over and you see Eldon, that you just quite literally threw on the bed, is starting to stir and grunt with the frustrations of a hangover. And you look at each other, and as you're sitting there, you feel a warmth over your heart. And right now, you probably have shirked off your clothes before you went to bed. You kind of stand up and look in the one mirror in the room, and you see a heart form over your chest. It's ornately made, and inside of it you see a diamond.
Hell yeah.
And that's the end of your one-shot.